So the all-new iMac is here. This is something I've been eagerly waiting to get my hands on because the 2021 iMac is the first to adopt a new design in years. Not just that, it comes in a number of new colors like the ones back in the day. It has a new 4.5K display, and of course, it's the first iMac to run on Apple's own silicon in the M1 chip. Inside of the box, we get the iMac itself, which is almost unbelievably light. And then nicely presented behind that is the new keyboard, lightning cable, power adapters, documentation, and the Magic Mouse. We'll take a closer look at each one in a sec, but that is it for what's inside of the box. Taking a look at the documentation, normally this part isn't all that interesting, but with the new iMacs, Apple decided to color match the paperwork with the color of the computer. So we got it in orange with the quick start guide matching that orange, as do the stickers. And since the iMacs all use two-tone colors for the base and the back of the Mac, you actually get two different stickers to reflect that. Next up is the power brick, which just like the documentation is more interesting than usual. There's of course an Apple logo right there in the center, but what's different about this power brick is it has an Ethernet port baked right into it, meaning you won't have to run your ugly Ethernet cable to the iMac itself. It can actually just stay hidden underneath your desk with this premium woven power cord that's color matched perfectly, being the only thing you technically need on top of your desk, since it'll deliver both power and Ethernet to the iMac. Of course, you still need to connect it to an outlet, and you get a standard white power cord to do that. This is actually the only thing in the box that isn't color matched with orange, but since it's going to be tucked away and underneath your desk, it really isn't all that big of a deal. But something that you will be seeing a lot of is the all-new Magic Keyboard. So luckily, this is color matched, where we have white keys sitting on an orange aluminum frame, with the keys themselves having pretty decent feedback with a nice clickiness to them. On top of the keyboard, you have a lightning port for charging, along with an on-off switch. Now, while the color matching and the design of the keyboard is nice, what makes this keyboard extra special is it's the first to bring Touch ID to a desktop Mac, which I'm actually surprised it took this long because it just makes the whole experience so much more convenient. Moving on, the next thing that we have is the Magic Mouse, which just like the keyboard is color matched, but instead of the top being orange, it's the bottom this time, where there's an on-off switch just like on the keyboard, and unfortunately, the lightning port to charge this thing is still at the bottom, meaning you can't use the mouse while you're charging it. Now this probably isn't that big of a deal since the battery life on these things are pretty good, but still kind of a weird design. The top of the mouse has this almost frosted white color. It of course has that multi-touch surface in addition to the normal click functions, and the profile of the mouse is really slim. A little bit too slim if you ask me. I don't find it to be the most comfortable mouse, but hey, it certainly does look nice. Now, the last accessory from the box is the Lightning to USB-C cable. This is what you'll use to charge both the keyboard and the mouse, so it's a good thing that Apple decided to color match it as well, with the same woven orange material as the power cord. I really like the fact that Apple didn't just stick one of the cables they use from the iPhone boxes, since this cable will be visible when you're using it, and it just goes to show you the attention to detail that Apple put into the iMac. But here it is, the moment that we've all been waiting for, the all-new iMac itself. Now, like I said earlier, this thing is just unbelievably light, making it super easy to turn around on this table, where we have a lot of layers of protective material to take off, including a sticker across the entire screen with that iconic hello text. On the back, well, there's more protective layering, but when you finally get it all off, underneath, this thing just looks amazing. I mean, it just looks so good, at least in this orange color, where you can see on the back of the iMac, you have a deep orange tone, while the base has a lighter, more coral orange, while on the front, you have a coral tone on that bottom bar with a white bezel going around that 24-inch screen. But taking a closer look at the back, you've got 4 USB-C ports, 2 of which are Thunderbolt 4. There's the power input where the cord magnetically attaches through the hole in the base, and on the bottom right, there's a big power button that's placed conveniently to where you can easily reach it with your fingers from the front. Taking a look at the side, this new iMac is only 11.5 millimeters thick, meaning this iMac is only 4 millimeters thicker than the iPhone 12, which is pretty impressive considering this is an all-in-one computer. On the left side of the iMac, you have a headphone jack, which is always nice to see. You've got a couple of mics on the top edge, and underneath you have the speaker grills for that 6-speaker sound system, which actually sounds pretty good right from the moment you turn the iMac on. Apple says this speaker system is the best on any Mac, and after playing around with it for a little bit, I agree, and while I don't think it'll compete with like pro standalone speakers or headphones, I can totally see myself watching a show on this thing, especially with that 4.5K display. This is just a 24-inch monitor, so that's a lot of pixels packed in there to where everything just looks crystal clear. The colors are great, and the brightness is more than enough. Now, Apple didn't just improve the speakers and the screen. They also improved the microphones with beamforming so it picks up more of your voice instead of the background, and the selfie camera has also been improved to a 1080p sensor that actually looks good and is in a perfect location for video calls. And then the last major thing with this new iMac is of course the chip inside of it with the Apple Silicon M1 chip. And so far it seems more than powerful enough to do most of the things that you're going to want to do on the iMac. Now, while I personally won't be using this iMac to replace my Mac Pro anytime soon, I do think that for most people who are just looking for a great desktop computer, this is going to be more than enough. There are some compatibility issues with some software, so be aware of that, but for the most part, it's still that great Mac experience. And if you're looking for one of the cleanest desktop setups that you can have with no messy wires and just a good looking computer, well, the all new iMac is going to be hard to beat.